Welcome to Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and welcome to your June 2024 Oracle reading. We have some really yummy messages for you today to assist you as we step into, in the Northern Hemisphere, the time of maximum expansion. We are stepping into the time of year where we need less sleep, we can do more, we can launch whatever project or creative endeavor is important to us while also spending time with family and friends, traveling. We can travel and work and sleep less and have more time outdoors, more time in nature. This is the time of maximum expansion. This is when our energy body, our physical body can do more than it normally can do throughout the year. Winter is a time of contraction, so that's a time where we're really going in deep, we're getting cozy, we're cuddling up, we're not moving a whole bunch, we're not doing a whole bunch, we're sleeping a lot, we're doing deep inner work. In the spring, we start to expand a little bit more, right? I had a new book come out. You might have had some expansions in your life. You notice you don't need near as much sleep as you needed in the winter time. You notice you have a little bit more energy. You're feeling more creatively inspired. After all, the new year doesn't actually start till March. So now we're going into this summer season. And for those of you that are in the Southern Hemisphere, of course, it's inverted for you, but same principles apply. This is inspired by Chinese medicine and, of course, partners with my connection to Source. So in this summertime space, this is a great time to expand yourself to the next level. Take yourself to the next level in whatever ways you're called to. And one of the big ways that we are being called to expand into more of who we really are is to take time to look at our addictions and make the commitment that this summer season, because we have so much more expanded capacity in the summer season, this summer season is going to be the time when you break free of whatever your most prevalent addiction is. I want to tell you a little story from my own life. In the early days after my spiritual awakening, I had this incredible spiritual mentor, but she was a badass. She was hardcore badass, amazing woman who had been through it all and was living a very elevated life. And she said to me, basically, that all humans are addicts. And I had a very strong response to this. Because I had grown up in an environment that had a lot of drinking, a lot of over drinking, a lot of addiction. I've had two sisters that have dealt with serious drug habits, and one sister has completely succumbed to heroin addiction. So I have very strong stories about addicts and who addicts are and what addicts look like. And my story was that was not me, right? I don't have addictions. I've got my shit together. I don't know what's wrong with these other people, but I got my shit together. I'm getting stuff done. I'm, going to college. I'm successful in my work. Like, that's not me. And what she said to me is that all humans have addictions and all humans are struggling with addiction. And it took me several years to be able to see the wisdom in that and the understanding that addiction is one of the major traps here on earth. And where does all addiction start? It starts in our thoughts. And so all humans have addictions of various kinds. Now, if that thought addiction builds up and there's enough trauma behind it, it will manifest into physical substances, whether that's alcohol, whether that's cannabis, whether that's crazy plant medicine ceremonies, the people who are doing ayahuasca ceremonies every month and microdosing and constantly altering their consciousness with substances. Those substances might also be food. A lot of times folks are abusing food and the body shows you if it's abusing food, right? The body shows us if we're abusing anything. It might be cigarettes. It might be toxic relationships. We might be addicted to that push-pull energy. We might be addicted to that roller coaster of emotions, and we're together and we're not together, and then we're together, and then there's drama, and we can get addicted to that. There's all different kinds of things we can get addicted to. We can get addicted to comparison, doom scrolling, shopping, purchasing things. I got to have more, more, more. It's never enough. We can get addicted to chasing. If you read my first novel, The Quest, A Tale of Desire and Magic, the character realizes, oh my God, I'm addicted to the chase, right? So there's all different kinds of ways that addiction energy can manifest for us. And again, it typically manifests, it's always manifesting in thought form, because humans get perseverating on their negative talk or their worries or their fears. And then again, if we've got trauma behind it, if we've got, which almost all humans have some kind of trauma, then it's going to manifest in an external substance. So in my earlier story, when my first spiritual mentor said to me, like, basically all humans are addicts and we're here to liberate. So the second portion of this is we're here to liberate ourselves from these addictions. I was really offended. My ego was really strong, meaning my personality and my wounds were very strong. And at that time I was drinking alcohol, and, I felt like I did not have an addiction to alcohol because I only drank on the weekends. I only had, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 glasses of wine. I never got blackout drunk. I never threw up from drinking, which were all things I saw, growing up, and that my family members who have addictions were doing. So I was like, I'm good. I don't resonate with this at all. But what I found over time through my own spiritual maturation process and through my own emotional maturation process and doing deep inner work with my inner child is that anytime we are taking in poisons and we are altering our consciousness, even if we're taking in plants and we're altering our consciousness and we become addicted to that, meaning we don't just do it one time or we don't just do it to heal the body, we're doing it as a lifestyle, we're doing it as part of our lifestyle, there is an addiction there. And if that addiction is present, then it needs to be liberated, because what that means is that there is trauma that's combined with thought addiction that is not serving us. Thoughts become beliefs, right? And then they anchor in more fully to the body. So it can become sort of a tangled web when you're looking at addiction and if you don't address it. So once I don't want to give myself too much credit here. I am now celebrating 9 years sober. I've not drank alcohol or consumed alcohol for 9 years. Coming up next year will be 10 years. So, I'm going to do something really fun to celebrate that milestone. I don't want to say like, oh, yeah, I did the hard work to stop drinking alcohol. What I did, and this is what I absolutely recommend to folks, especially if they're caught up in their addiction, because I was definitely caught up in my addiction to alcohol. First of all, I was in denial about it. I was like, it's fine. I only do it on the weekends. I never drink by myself. I never do all these things that I would ascribe to someone who's an alcoholic. So I'm fine. What I did was I kept going deeper in my own spiritual development and emotional work, which led me to the point where I literally could not drink alcohol. Like, I used to love the smell of wine and champagne, and I love the whole frequency around it. Now, if I smell it, it makes me want to throw up. It's so revolting to me because I've raised my frequency to a level where it recognizes poison and says, no, thank you. I'm not going to put that poison in my body. I was a vibrational match to that. And so, of course, it was part of my experience. But I wasn't someone, I was told by spiritual mentors to quit drinking and that I needed to quit drinking. And I was like, no, it's totally not a problem and it's totally fine. And they were like, yeah, you're not an alcoholic, like a full-blown alcoholic or anything like that, but it's holding you back from your spiritual development. It's holding you back from your ascension. What is our ascension? Our ascension is being our divine human self while in the body, right? Anybody can just leave the body and ascend. Okay, fine. Yay, you. But we're talking about anchoring the higher frequencies here through the body on earth. You cannot do that with active addiction to substances of any kind. And thought addiction is also going to hold you back from your ascension because it's going to keep you small, keep you stuck, keep you from living in the blissful, ecstatic, non-dualistic, I will say, love-based frequency that you're here to live in. So, I am so excited to announce, this has been percolating for some time, but after I celebrated my 9 years sober, Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and the goddesses of the highest light said, it's time. So on June 11th at 11:11 a.m. Pacific time, I am offering a free spiritual training. And that free spiritual training is titled Sober is Sacred and Sexy. This is a free spiritual training. It'll be about 45 to 60 minutes. We're going to come together. We're going to talk about addiction, how it manifests. We're going to give you a spiritual RX to set you on the path to free yourself from however your addictions are manifesting at this time. Whether, it's substances, thoughts, relationships, internet use, porn. I didn't mention that. That shows up. We have so much distortion around sexuality. We won't even open that can of worms right now, but so much distortion out there. And in order to become our divine human selves, which is your true self fully manifested in a physical avatar on earth, we have to liberate ourselves from addictions of all kinds. So since I was able to free myself of the alcohol addiction, that was like the one substance that I was still, I'd cleaned up my eating because I had to, because of health issues back in my early 20s. But I clung to that drinking until 36. And so letting go of that was such a huge liberation for me and has continued to be. And I want you to have that experience of liberation from what is holding you back. There is no way that I could have the deepening of my spirit in form. There's no way I could be who I am. There's no way I could serve in the way that I serve. There's no way I could write all the books I've written and do all the things I've done with alcohol as a primary part of my life. This was also very important for my family lineage. So I'm sharing this with you because it's the same for you. Whatever that addiction is for you, whether it's cannabis, cigarettes, toxic relationships, plant medicine ceremonies, and being addicted to that whole cycling of, chasing some kind of spiritual high, as opposed to just like doing the work that we have to do. And the work is meditating every day, and the work is praying, and the work is being with your inner child and integrating her back into your heart. The work is cleaning up the psychic energy you've taken on that isn't yours. The work is cleaning up the karmic and other lifetime energy that needs to be deactivated within you. The work is feeling all your feelings and being there for them. So however this manifests for you, however this addiction manifests for you, it is manifesting not just for you, it's manifesting through your family lineage. So when you break that cycle of addiction for yourself, whatever that is, you are healing your ancestors, you are healing the children to come, the generations to come, and you are supporting the healing of the collective soul. And if we truly want to be liberated and live free and live as the divine beings of the light that we truly are, active addiction cannot be present in our experience. So join me for free on June 11th at 11:11 a.m. You know I'm going to use that master number 11 portal to activate us and take us higher. We're going to talk about addiction, how it works here on earth, go deeper into what I've shared here today, and then we are going to give you a spiritual RX so you can be set free. We'll do some meditation. We'll get you in that frequency where you can then, when you come into contact with that substance, it's just not a vibrational match. So if you know my story, I quit drinking cold turkey, is what I think that's what they say, right? So I quit drinking and I just never, it just wasn't a thing for me ever again. I didn't know exactly how the path was going to go. I just knew that there was no way I could even put that substance into my body and drink it, wine, drink spirits, drink, the champagne. I just couldn't do it anymore. But my point is I had done so much. I'd cleaned up my diet. I'd done so much deep spiritual healing work that then I got to the place where there was no way I could do it. It was just so out of alignment. And we're going to talk about what comes from making that change, right? Because that decision to cut that substance out, that's become a huge part of your lifestyle, whether you know it or not. And so that ripples into all areas of your life, and it most definitely impacts and blocks your spiritual development. So your psychic gifts, your intuitive abilities cannot go to the next level with those substances in your body. And that includes microdosing mushrooms, plant medicines, ayahuasca ceremonies, all of that. All of that has been distorted as well. It's again part of the trap here on earth. So we're going to talk about this distortion, how it manifests, and how we can rise above it and transcend it. And again, as I mentioned, we're going to give you a real practical solution, a spiritual RX that you can use and implement into your life right away so that you can have that similar experience that I had where you're just like, oh, gross. Like, what was I even thinking? That's like, and set yourself free of that to liberate you to the next level. So join me June 11th at 11:11 a.m. Pacific. I have a link on my homepage of my website so you can register for free. You do need to register to experience the spiritual training class. So go to my website, sacred-spirituality.org. On the homepage, I'll put it right at the top. Register for our free Sober is Sacred and Sexy Master Training class. I can't wait to share this with you. This has been on my heart for some time. And again, as I mentioned, when I stepped into the 9th year of sobriety from alcohol and all drugs, I want to be clear. Some people think that I had my spiritual awakening and I was like, did some kind of plant medicine ceremony as if that's the only way you can have a spiritual awakening. No, I do no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing. Like, I want to be very clear about that. So my spiritual path is radical sobriety. And that is what I most believe in and most teach and most know is the highest path for all of us who are spiritually awakened. So yes, my awakening has never included any sort of ayahuasca or plant medicines or anything of that nature. Turns out it is completely unnecessary. You can spiritually awaken without any substances. And you can keep awakening without any substances. And in fact, that is the trippiest trip you will ever go on. Reality, like true reality and not altering your consciousness is actually like the trippiest mother effing trip you will ever have. Like people think, because it's a program in the Matrix, and we'll talk more about this in the free class. They think like, oh no, that's fun and being high is all this stuff. It's like, you're actually just distracting yourself from true reality and the true like joy and delight and ecstasy and intensity of this experience on earth. And that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to bypass this. We're here to be fully present for it. So now let's go deeper into your oracle reading for June. It is coming to you from our Oracle Radical Abundance and Radical Times. It came out in 2021. It was a private release. So those of you who were with me at that time and smart enough to say yes to it, you have it. It is currently out of print. I'm getting more and more requests to bring it back into print. So after I finish our angelic series, I will be looking into doing that for our community. If you have not gotten your copy of the Angelics Afterlife, it just came out on May 22nd. We ranked number 1 in all of our categories on Amazon, which is super fun. And most importantly, we've just been getting some incredible reviews from folks who just like could not put the book down, devoured it in one setting, are reading it again. So if you have not brought that into your life, it is available worldwide, ebook and paperback. The Angelic series, that's my focus. I have at least 3 love stories that have to be told, and I'm living the 3rd love story right now. So I will be writing that most likely next year and releasing the 3rd book in the series next year. And then we'll look at getting Radical Abundance and Radical Times and Sacred Love and Sacred Times released wide internationally. All right. With that, we are going to go into your area of focus for the month of June. Of course, we've started this June Oracle reading with you talking about liberating yourself from addictions, however they're manifesting for you. And now we're going to go deeper into your guidance for the month of June. And so liberating yourself from your addictions is the focus for this summer season. And that's because you have the expanded capacity and bandwidth to do it now. And so we want to really work with the cosmic energies to support you in the highest level so you can be successful. All right, take a nice deep cleansing breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth. Here is your oracle reading from Radical Abundance and Radical Times. You are here at this divine time because you are a needed and necessary component of the divine unfolding, of the collective consciousness expanding, of it all. And so if each of you were the same, if each of you had the same body, the same face, the same hair length and style, the same talents, the same job or business, if you had the same cash money in the bank, if you had the same levels of prosperity, if you had the same health, the same life trajectory, well then you would have a world where that was not only extremely boring, but completely and totally ineffective. What is so strange is to watch you all looking at one another and pointing and scowling, sure that the other received the better face, hair, body, cash, talents, jobs, celebrity, promotions. And so you say, that other did this really, really well. Now all I have to do is do what he or she did, or look like him or her, become like him or her, and then everything in my life will be great. And we say, really? Are you serious, dear one? How does that make any sense at all? You are all different shapes and sizes because your shape and size and look are exactly what is needed for you to most be what you most came here to be and do and experience. You have the gifts and talents that you have, that only you have, in the way that only you have them, because that's exactly what was needed for you to be and do and have the life you most came to experience and have the impact you most came to have in supporting those you are here to support. And therefore, the vibrational elevation you provide to all when you live your life in true alignment with who you really are. You all have different amounts of cash money in the bank or levels of prosperity because all different levels of cash money, forms of exchange feel good to you. And all different levels are needed to support the evolution of your cultures, of your countries, of your systems, and of your organizations. You have all agreed to, long before you arrived in this very body that you're in, to have a certain experience with prosperity, including the evolutionary experience and deepening of understanding that you would have so that you were able to evolve forward to a certain placement that was the truly aligned placement that you were meant to be with in this lifetime. This is true of all things. We promise you this. And yet you have this story that more is more is more. And so you must be on this inevitable quest for more, that you must have more and more and more. And we say, oh, dear one, please tell us you have learned more about this life unfolding from us than this. Please, oh, please. We might even crack, you've got to be kidding us, just to make you smile. What we have been leading you towards, what we have been asking of you, is that you recognize that no matter what your role is in this life unfolding, that you place your focus on all of the abundance that currently exists for you in this very now moment. And every day, and as many times as you can throughout the day, be in honor and gratefulness for all that is before you that is abundant in every way. And that no matter what is in your quote-unquote bank account or wherever you keep your prosperity, you are looking every day for a reason to bless your forms of exchange, to thank the money or forms of exchange, to build a strong, loving, and kind relationship with all forms of money, which is simply an energetic form of exchange for thriving, so that this one can thrive and so you can thrive as well. And it was never ever about if you could just get this certain amount of cash money and then you would be safe. That is not living rich. Living rich is being in union with your divine path, with your destiny, with your higher wisdom, so that when you are desiring to line up with a certain amount of cash money or forms of exchange, you are doing so from alignment with who you really are, so that the amounts and frequencies that are meant to flow to you can and will flow to you. It's about loving who you are and loving who others are and loving your gifts and giving them in the manners and ways and frequencies that most delight you and most light you up. It's about recognizing how rich you are with all of the love that surrounds you and with all of the love that you feel for that blade of grass, for that postmaster, for that random animal over there, and for that one sitting next to you holding your hand. Don't you see? Don't you see? There is a vibrational frequency that is your most aligned frequency when it comes to wealth and to everything. And you are going to play and dance with this experience. And then as you become more of who you really are, you're going to line up with that sweet spot, if you will, and you will breathe a huge sigh of relief. You've arrived. You've arrived in the sense of you have let go of the fight. The fight to get more, the fight to be more, the fight to have more, the fight to do more, which I will add, by the way, is what addiction is really all about, feeling that you are not enough and you need more, whatever the more is. We'll continue with the reading. And instead, You surrender into the ecstatic knowing that your alignment with your destiny, including your prosperity destiny, is everything. And so instead you follow that flow. You flow with that sensation, and the dollars or the silver or the gold or whatever form of exchange it is are blessed frequencies. We see this as so for you. And you rejoice at the sight of your prosperity, and you rejoice at the exchange of it and at all of the thriving that results from your interactions with it. And you spend your cash money or forms of exchange when your higher self calls you to. And you receive cash money and forms of exchange from giving your truest expression. And all goes so very, very, very well for you. All goes and flows in a way that you never imagined, but which feels incredible to you in every way. We know you want this certain amount. You're convinced that this certain amount will make it all quote unquote okay for you. And what we are wanting you to do is to ask with curiosity and gratitude and kindness for your higher wisdom to show you the way, for your higher wisdom to actually tune you into what is truly true and truly aligned for you in amounts and frequencies at this very time in your evolution, and to then make peace with that, love that, dance with that, celebrate that. We see it as so for you. We see it as so, and so it is. It is so. Okay, take a nice deep cleansing breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out of the mouth. So what beautiful guidance for you for the month of June. And I love how it just partnered perfectly in with our free spiritual training class. Of course it would. The divine is like that. I was like, I don't know how this fits into the addiction piece, but we saw it perfectly. This striving for more comes from believing that you are not worthy. And so you're always chasing that, and you're chasing that more through altering your consciousness, through all kinds of ways that people chase. And all addiction really comes from the core belief of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And so this piece of really being in deep appreciation and looking every day for all the signs of abundance that you have and honoring them and honoring every form of exchange. Every time you quote unquote pay for something, which I would like you to shift your consciousness to see it as gifting. I'm gifting this, they're gifting me this. We're just always gifting to each other, and no more that just frees us from this whole very constricted frequency of capitalism and transactions and buying and selling, and really stepping into the gifting consciousness, which I have integrated into my world since 2020. So I highly recommend you play with this over the month of June, really looking at all the ways that your prosperity is there, recognizing, as the transmission stated, you are a divine being. You could not be here if you did not have an important mission, and that important mission is unique for every single one of you. That comparison piece, people feel bad about themselves, so they're chasing the ayahuasca ceremony to get that next spiritual download, which they could just get from all the ways I talked about earlier, right? They don't want to feel that feeling, so they're smoking that cigarette because that has psychoactive ingredients and it opens up the pineal, and which you don't want to do. They're not feeling good about themselves, so they're having that glass of wine, right? I just got to relax, and this is going to help me. They're putting their focus on that toxic relationship because that's easier than addressing the deep pain that lives within the self. So if you can play with this in this month of June, take this expansive energy that the summer season offers you. Commit to liberating yourself from your addictions. We're going to give you clear guidance on how to do that June 11th. And then practice gratitude for yourself, everything you have. You're not comparing yourself to anyone else or anything else. You are focused on being in gratitude or appreciation for all of the abundance that is already present in your life. All right, so that is our focus for the month of June. I look forward to seeing your beautiful face on June 11th. Please join us live. I know in this time of online trainings, people love to sign up for trainings and then I'm going to listen to it, and then they don't. And I really want us to be walking a higher path with this. So be in integrity, say yes to the training, and show up. I want to see your beautiful face. Ask me questions. Let's talk. Let's dialogue. Let's support you in being liberated from whatever is holding you back from the exquisiteness of your being, of the divine mission that only you have. So here's the thing. You free yourself from your addictions, your divine mission can open up in radical and blessed and prosperous, as the transmission told us, prosperous ways. So I will see you June 11th. Go to sacred-spirituality.org to click on that link to register to receive the training details and get the Zoom link and all those good things. And then, of course, everyone who registers will also receive the replay, which will be available for a limited time to view. So I'm sending you so much love. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for being here with us today and being on this path and being embodied in a body, because that is a very special and unique experience to incarnate on earth with a spiritual mission. We are so grateful that you are here on earth. Can't wait to see what we create in this maximum expansion season. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and this has been Awakening the Podcast.